أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن استنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته, brothers. Alhamdulillah, we start by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we send our salam and salawat on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Alhamdulillah, we are going through the series of the biography of four young Sahaba, the four Abdullahs.
Who's the BMW sedan?
If no one claiming, I will claim. If no one is claiming, I will claim.
So we are going through the four biographies of the young four Abdullah, the close Sahaba of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we have finished all the biographies. And now, yes, last week we started the biography of another famous Sahaba who is not, officially among the four Abdullahs, but he is also another Abdullah ibn Masud radiallahu ta'ala an. And we said that we are going through this series to know about their family background, their interaction with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how they grew up, how they accepted Islam through his hand, what are their fadail, their virtues through the mouth of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, their personal life, their Islam, their struggle, their contribution to the Islamic society and the political situation of that time. And we started with Abdullah ibn Masud, and we talked about last week that who is from a small tribe of Makkah, but that tribe was famous for one of the things, that is their dialect of Arabic was very, very nice and powerful. And we said that one of the later generation, when Imam Shafi was born, Imam Shafi and some other scholars also been sent by their parents to that tribes to learn about Arabic. We also talked about how he accepted Islam. So last week we talked about mainly that Abdullah ibn Masud was a shepherd of one of the Quraysh leader, Utbah ibn Abi Mu'ayt, and Abu Bakr and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was passing by through him, and they saw him, they asked for the milk, and this Abdullah ibn Masud saw the miracle of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he accepted Islam. And we also said that because he is the only sixth person to accept Islam. So the time when is only 5 of them before him was Islam have taken the Shahada. So he was the sixth person. So his nickname was the sixth of Islam, the As-Sudus al-Islam. And we say that later on the scholar found out that the amount of hadith, the Quran recitation, the tafsir, the explanation that was collected from Abdullah ibn Masud through his tabi'in, it looks like it is really the 1/6 of Islam. Today we'll go talk about some of his time spent with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So now he is a Muslim. He spent some time in Makkah, and then he went with Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Medina. So we'll mention few of the things. Inshallah ta'ala, next we'll go more in detail for other things in the later life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he had many nicknames. He had many nicknames, and one of the nicknames he had, it was, he said as-sahibu, meaning the companion, as-sahibu na'lain. Na'lain means the pair, the sandals, as you call thong. So he is called the companion of the sandals. So it's a trivia question. Who is the Sahaba has this name? It is Abdullah ibn Masud. Why? Because obviously you can understand, he used to carry the sandal of Prophet Muhammad all the time. So whenever Prophet used to take his sandal off, going to a masjid or any place in Makkah or anywhere that he is not wearing the sandals, right away Abdullah ibn Masud used to come and carry it with him. Also he's called the Sahibu Sihirun, meaning the secret keeper of Prophet Muhammad. Now there's another Sahaba who is famously known as the secret keeper of Prophet Muhammad. Do you know the name of the Sahaba? Anybody? Who was the Sahaba is called the secret keeper of Prophet Muhammad? Anybody? We mentioned his name so many times. Yeah, but what is his name? His name is Hudayfa al-Yamin. Hudayfa is like in the hadith history, in the Sirah history, he is known as the secret keeper of Prophet Islam, but also Abdullah ibn Masud has all access to some of the information that no other Sahaba had. So he also initially had this name. Now Hudayfa as a secret keeper, why he's called a secret keeper basically? Because 2 main things he used to know that nobody used to know. Rasulullah told only Hudayfa. One of the things was the name of the Munafiqun. So Rasulullah had a list of the Munafiqun of that time, and it was known by Hudayfa. That's why Umar used to come, and Umar used to come to Hudayfa and ask, am I in this list, he was scared that maybe his name is on the list when he was in the Amirul Mu'minin. And also another thing that Hudayfa was known because he used to know the fitan, the fitan that will coming up later on in the time of Sahaba. Rasulullah mentioned lot of things. Some of the things we know that he indicated in front of anybody, like all of the people. Like he indicated the date, he indicated the death of Ammar ibn Yasir. He said, "Oh Ammar, you will be killed by among the two Muslim group who are the rebellious ones." So there will be two Muslim fighting, another rebellious. Also we know that he once took his grandson Hassan in his lap, in his hole, and he said, "This is my son." So they used to call son as a grandson. So this is my son, and he is a Sayyid, and he will meet, he'll resolve the issues between the greatest fitna between two Muslim groups. So you're already indicating this thing. But Hudayfa, he used to know more in details. As mentioned in some of the, because he's a secret keeper, he used to know more in details. And we find one of the narration from Hudayfa and the conversation between Hudayfa and Umar ibn Khattab, as Umar asked him, what did Rasulullah told you about the fitan? What's going to happen? So Hudayfa replied that, Ya Amirul Mu'minin, do not worry. It is not in your lifetime. Okay? There is a door between you and the fitan. And then Umar ibn Khattab asked, this door will be broken or it will be open? So Hudayfa said it will be broken. And then Umar replied, then I think that what I understand that this door will be never closed till the day of judgment. And that's why we have fitan after Umar radiallahu anh, and there will be fitan among the ummah till the day of judgment. So once some Sahaba, some tabi'in actually, they come to Hudayfa because they know Hudayfa is a famous person. They ask Hudayfa, "Oh Hudayfa, you know so many secrets. Can you tell us who should we follow? Who is the most closest to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam?" Sahaba. And that time Abu Bakr is already passed away. So this is the time of Umar ibn Khattab. So they ask Hudayfa, who should we go and learn? Who is the most closest to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So Hudayfa, being a secret keeper of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said the best among the Sahaba and who is the most closest and loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Abdullah ibn Masud. So he himself mentioned the name of Abdullah ibn Masud because Abdullah ibn Masud was so close to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He also has the nickname is called As-Sahibut Tahiru, meaning he used to carry the tahur. Tahur means the water, the pure water, or like the water that we use for wudu for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So anything, as a personal khadim, if you can say, Abdullah ibn Masud was always there for Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One of the Sahaba, when they come to Medina, Abu Musa al-Ashari, the Abu Musa al-Ashari is a famous companion. Why is famous for? Can anybody tell why Abu Musa al-Ashari is famous? Anybody knows? In Medina. He was very famous because of the first thing happened in Medina. Rasulullah chose the land of the mosque and where he's going to live. And he let his camel go to choose. You all know that story, right? So that was the land that donated by Abu Musa al-Ashari. So the Masjid al-Nawawi that we go actually basically, it is a waqf from the Sahaba Abu Musa al-Ashari. So he was the man who gave it to Rasulullah as we call in Islamic term, waqf, meaning he gave it to the person. So that is the main land, and this is where Rasulullah built the mosque. And when it was building, he used to live in the house of Abu Musa al-Ashari because Rasulullah didn't make a house for him first. He built the mosque first, then he made a room for himself, for him and Aisha radiallahu anha. So Abu Musa al-Ashari, because when he came to Medina and he used to live with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said to himself and some other companions they know, Abdullah ibn Masud was so close to him for the long time, long period of time. We used to think that Abdullah ibn Masud is a family member, a Ahlul Bayt, like he's probably the cousin of Rasulullah, or maybe he's one of the, like adopted son or something like. They used to say, wherever we used to see Rasulullah, Abdullah ibn Masud was always there. So he used to think like this way. Now in Makkah, the next point, the Quran recited. In Makkah, when the Quran revealed, and Rasulullah himself used to recite the Quran most of the time in private. As we mentioned that last time in Darul Arqam, there's a house for the Sahaba to gather together because the situation was very bad. The society, everybody was against them, and day by day it was getting worse and worse. People used to torture them, like they used to torture Bilal, Ammar and all other people, Suhaib al-Rumi, all these Sahaba would get tortured. So nobody used to have the courage or the situation to go in front of Kaaba and pray, like we pray nowadays. And until Umar ibn Khattab and Hamza, they became Muslim, and then the Muslim had some power in them, and then they started praying outside. But before that, nobody used to do that. But Abdullah ibn Masud, and we'll talk about his physical feature, but he was a very small man. We'll talk about this very soon. But he once, when the Surah Al-Rahman been revealed, Ar-Rahman, Allama al-Quran, he learned it from Prophet Muhammad. He had a very good memory. And we'll talk about it, inshallah, next week, that he learned almost 70 surah from the mouth of Rasulullah. So Rasulullah was his teacher, as memorizing the teacher. How blessed he was. So he learned Surah Al-Rahman, the first part of it, and he went in front of Kaaba and he started reciting loudly. Ar-Rahman, Allama al-Quran, Khalaq al-Insan, and all the people are hearing, they loved it. They said, oh, what nice poem he's reciting. It's a very nice poem, beautiful word. So Abu Jahl came and he said, no, this is not the poem. This is the thing that, Muhammad is getting, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he's getting it. So, we should not let it happen. Just start beating him. And all the people gathered together and start beating Abdullah ibn Masud. And it was mentioned in the narration that they beat him so badly, they broke his collarbone, like they broke his jaw also. And he somehow has been, because no one is saved, they're there to save Abdullah ibn Masud, because he's from a slave group, he's a shepherd, as you know that, there's no one him to protect there, his tribe is far away from the main city of the Makkah. So Sahaba asked him, why did you do this? And he said, Wallahi, even if I have to do it again, I will do it again. And the beating that they give me today is nothing to me. I can take it again for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to recite the Quran. But then Prophet ﷺ told him, no, you should not do it, because you should take care of your life first. It's not important that you go in front of Kaaba and recite nowadays. So he stopped there. But he is the first Sahaba that who went in front of Kaaba and recited the Quran. So we remember, this is another trick question. If someone asks you who is the first one to recite Quran in front of the public, in front of Kaaba, is no other than Abdullah ibn Masud. About his physical feature, as I mentioned, that he was a very small man, and how small he is. One of the narrations says any Sahaba, any normal height Sahaba, even Rasulullah himself, when he used to sit down, like we sit down after the prayer, and Abdullah ibn Masud is to come and stand beside them, he was the height of their height. So how short he was. So he was really, really short, because usually the Arab people like Omar, even Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr was also thin, but he was tall. Ali was also thin and but strong, but he was tall. So most of the Sahaba were tall, as described by the narrators, but he was really, really short. So when people used to sit down, his height was like that side, and he has very thin legs. And once on a journey, there were a group of Sahaba and Rasulullah with them. So he was climbing a date palm tree to get some date palm for Rasulullah, just to serve him. And when he was climbing up, people are looking, because his izar is going up, that he used to take the cloth up just to makes it easy for him to climb. And they saw his legs. His legs were very small and thin, and some Sahaba start laughing by looking at them. And it is not allowed in our Islam. And later on, we had Surah Al-Hujurat, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said we should not make fun of people, we should not have nicknames for the people. And Islam became very, very angry. And Sahaba used to do a lot of jokes in front of Rasulullah with other things, and from the Sida story. And he used to allow them, that's fine. Like, jokes with any camel or donkey or something like this. But when it was with Abdullah ibn Masud and some personal thing, Rasulullah became very, very angry. And he said, why you guys are laughing? What makes you laugh so much? So, the other Sahaba who were laughing, they tell the truth. They say, yeah, Rasulullah, we look at Abdullah ibn Masud, and he was climbing up, his legs were very thin. So we just looked at his leg, how thin could be people's leg like this, like a kid. So Rasulullah told them, those two legs, in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the judgment day, one of the leg will be heavier than the mountain of Uhud. One of the leg will be heavier than the Mount Uhud. Imagine, how blissful he is. So, he was always appreciated by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Also, one day there was a group of Sahaba, and among them, Abdullah ibn Masud was there. And in that group, he said, he's mentioned in that hadith that, we are 6 of them. So he was there, Abdullah ibn Masud was there, Bilal was there, Suhaib al-Rumi was there, and he mentioned some other people, some other Sahaba. And that time Rasulullah was talking to the chief of the Quraysh in Makkah, and Rasulullah was, someone asked something from him, and Rasulullah was talking to the chief of the Quraysh. At that time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the ayah that, just like the story of Surah Al-Abasa, where a blind man came, talking to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Allah try to rectify Rasulullah, he should give more focus to this person because he has more, eagers to learn something. So even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in one of the ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah, and we mentioned this one, that Allah said, this group of people, in the ayah Allah said, this group of people, they are, close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are, the meaning is that, they are very, very, devoted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you should put more focus, so do not ignore them. Do not ignore them because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is happy with them. So Abdullah ibn Masud said, I was in that group and I'm very, very pleased for that that happened with me. Also, Abdullah ibn Masud, as mentioned by the other Sahaba, that he had a very open access to the house of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Although he is not a family member of Rasulullah, like other Sahaba, the wives of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, our mothers has some relationship. Or like Abdullah ibn Abbas is the cousin of Rasulullah, okay? Also his one of his khala was the wife of Rasulullah. All of the Sahaba, somehow they were close, their mothers or fathers or grandfathers related to Rasulullah. So they have some access. But Abdullah ibn Masud has nobody else, he is himself. But still Rasulullah told him explicitly that you can come to my house anytime you want. Because as you know that there's a permission you have to take. But Rasulullah told him, you can come anytime in my house as long as you see any woman. If you see the hijab of my house, hijab means the curtain actually, the hijab of my house is open. As long as it's open, you come and you pull it down, but you still cannot come. You can still come in. So he has this access, and that's why he learned so much from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so many surahs from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he has this open access through the permission of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So inshallah ta'ala, we'll stop here today. We'll talk about all the battles and everything that happened in the time of Rasulullah and how he took participate, what was his opinions and everything in next week. Jazakallah khairan, subhanakallahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.